Shut up and piss off, dear listener. This is the 3T RPG podcast, and my name is Evil Harrison. And with me is Evil Nick. And of course, really bad boy James.
Aye.
This is a podcast all about tabletop RPGs, and today we're going to be talking about running an evil campaign. We will of course have all our other usual features such as News Punch and what you've been slaying, and we'll finish up with some evil listener questions. But the main subject today, we're going to be talking about running evil campaigns. I mean, you've seen the title of the podcast. I don't need to tell you that. So let's do some news.
I mean,
Oh yeah, News Punch.
I mean,
The news.
All right, yeah, but shut up.
all right, don't be evil.
Sorry. All right, I'm going to bring good Harrison back for a little while. Then when we get to the main subject, I'm going evil again.
Yeah, fair enough.
So TSR comes back, then TSR goes away. That's the headline. So TSR Games, right? Tactical Supplements Rules, I think it stood for. It's the original company responsible for D&D, and it went under in 1999 with $30 million of debt.
Ooh.
And obviously it was purchased by Wizards of the Coast in 2000. Since then, Wizards of the Coast has been purchased by Hasbro, and we've been under the corporate hellscape of the Hasbro Corporation ever since. But what if I told you that TSR was coming back, lads? And maybe we'd see a return to the golden age where weird experimental games were coming out of Gary Gygax's brain mind.
That'd be quite nice.
I'd say yeah.
What if I also told you that TSR already did come back once, and so technically this is the third coming of the company?
Don't call it a comeback.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But let me explain. So TSR have been out of action since 2000, but obviously in 2012, a bloke called Jason Elliott started running Gygax magazine and published it under the TSR name. Well, recently the TSR brand name was momentarily up for grabs, and Gygax's son Ernie grabbed it before announcing he'd be making products under the TSR name. And he also started calling himself Gary Gygax Jr., which isn't his name. But he's obviously trying to capitalise on it, right? So now there are two TSRs. There's the one that published the Gygax magazine and the one that Ernie Gygax made. Now, obviously, you can't have two TSRs, right? Because then we're just in Bizarro land, right? That's just things don't work that way,
No.
you know?
Nah.
So, yeah, one of them was going to have to back down. And fortunately, Ernie Gygax made that very, very easy for the other TSR. And his first act as the new owner of TSR, Ernie threatened legal action against the OSR community, made public statements that he doesn't care about gender politics, and has been arguing with people on Twitter.
Nice.
So the other TSR has now rebranded to Solarian Games to distance themselves from Ernie Gygax. Now, it should be mentioned that the Twitter part of this debacle is actually really difficult to dissect because the offending tweets all got deleted, right? But a few survived where Luke Gygax, Ernie's brother, was talking smack against the new TSR, saying that it was a shameless cash grab based on their father's name, and claiming that Ernie stole the logo and many old intellectual properties for this new company. And what's great is that Ernie responded on Twitter from the TSR account and simply said, "Stop making stuff up, Luke. You never were part of TSR."
Wow.
So when we first heard this news, we were kind of excited. But now, right, what it's turned into is two brothers feuding on Twitter and Ernie doing a shameless cash grab and saying, you know,
It's
sort of
devolved into
contentious thing.
lunacy.
Right, exactly. So the good news is that the new TSR, run by Ernie Gygax, has hired a new PR manager, and that probably explains why all the tweets got deleted.
That was his first one, yeah, first thing to do. Right,
Yeah.
get rid of that
Well,
shit.
exactly. It's funny because the old PR manager that they had, he was, if I recall correctly, a politician and who was once caught up in a scandal because he made women wrestle in a tub of grits.
Oh, wow.
Right.
Okay.
So, when we heard the news that TSR were coming back, did either of you expect that we'd have Grits Wrestling Man and a family feud happening on Twitter?
No,
Yeah,
I just thought we might get some nice
Yeah,
products.
that's pretty much it.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought what they might do is sort of bring back some out of print things, stuff like this.
Yeah.
But it turns out a lot of the sort of stuff has changed hands over the years. Different people own it, things like this, and probably Wizards of the Coast, So what we're getting actually is some of the projects from the the 80s and 90s that were never finished, and now they're going to be finished. But it's ones that people have long since stopped caring about. So that is the new TSR. That is what Gygax's legacy is going to be. He did all this work, got into $300 million of debt, died, and now his son is dragging his name through the muck.
Total shambles, rambles.
Yeah.
Yep, real shame, because I thought maybe they'd come out with like new, like the new version of D&D.
Yeah,
and call it, like, I don't know.
rethinking old shit. You know what I mean? Like giving it a new, new age kind of stuff, or bringing back old classics,
Feel
or
like
you
D&D
know,
Or
anything.
taking the
rebirth.
company in the direction it would have gone in.
Yeah, or actually acting like a business. Yeah.
Yeah. That's it, and that is it really. That's TSR in a nutshell nowadays. I mean, I don't imagine they'll do very well or it'll last very long, but hopefully Ernie will get the little bit of pocket money he's been after. The other big news for today is the Trove is down.
Oh, no.
Now, I just want to say, everything I'm about to say, Nick, that summarises my thoughts too, but I just want to say everything I'm about to say is I'm playing a character, and it's definitely not my true opinions.
Educational purposes only.
Exactly. So the Trove, for those that don't know, was the internet's biggest piracy site for RPGs and contained, I don't know, like tens of thousands of books.
It was quite the back catalogue.
Now, here's the thing, right? I have used the Trove, and remember what I just said before, the disclaimer, I have used the Trove. I, as listeners may know, don't really fuck with PDFs because I can't. It gives me a headache to read them on a screen, right? So, but what I do use PDFs for is printing out pages from books I already own. And I personally believe that if you have the physical book and you bought it, new from a shop, that you should be able to have the PDF as well for those purposes.
Absolutely.
But in the past, whenever I have needed a page from a book, I often ask the publisher, and if they tell me no, I'll pirate it. And I know that legally, right, you're not entitled to the PDF just because you bought the book, even if you bought it direct from the publisher.
But
However,
you're just cutting out the process of scanning it yourself.
That's all it is, right? And I believe that you should be entitled to the PDF for when you have the book, so I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
Barack Obama, be the change you want to see in the world.
Yep.
But yeah, I don't know. I think that's, and also like, if you have real confidence in your product, some of my favourite games that I've ever looked at, I've had a quick cheeky look on the Trove to see if I like the look of it, then bought the physical edition.
Try before you buy.
I don't know if I agree with this whole thing that piracy hurts sales, because it's actually found, at least in video games, that more often than not, the people that have pirated the game were never going to buy it to begin with.
Yeah.
And Nick, you and I have made products. We've made some bigger ones, some smaller ones. If somebody doesn't have the money to buy it and it's on the Trove, I would be more than happy for them to pirate it, because they're not going to buy it anyway.
Yeah.
They don't have the money, or they don't have the inclination to buy it. So fuck it, get
Yeah,
it. But
get
if you
it.
feel
Use
like
it.
paying for it,
Thank
do
you.
it. Yeah.
That's right.
But
Thingy used to do that, didn't they? Which was quite nice. Oh god, where was that game store that we went all the way up to?
Leisure Games.
Leisure Games. So Leisure Games often you'll buy the book and then you'll get the free PDF, which is nice.
Yeah, they just give it to you as a free download.
Yeah.
And I mean, a good example is Lion and Dragon. I played this. It's a medieval role-playing game, an OSR one, and I ran a session of it for you guys once, and all I wanted was the fucking map of London that was in the book, and I didn't want to have to try and scan it. And I asked the publisher, they said no. I asked the author, he said no, and so
You asked the Trove.
the rest is history. So I asked my boys at the Trove. But now that's down, and actually it's a very, very handy resource. But yeah, I mean, obviously people were using it for illicit reasons and things like this. And the topic of piracy is like a really, really contentious one. However, I'm not anti-piracy, and I'm not even anti-piracy if you want to pirate things I've done. So
yeah, that's it.
So, but yeah, that's a helpful resource down, and I think
It's really annoying.
it is very annoying actually, and it's sort of
Especially if you want to run an online game and you want to like cut and paste some bits into, let's say Roll20 or Fantasy Grounds, and rather than now, if you only got the physical copy, all you can do is sit there and freaking hand type it.
Yeah, and let's be honest as well, like some of the companies for the PDF are charging stupid amounts. I mean,
£30 for a PDF.
That's a bit shameless, isn't it? Yeah, that is shameless.
Because, one that I downloaded before was the Barrow Maze, right? I bought the physical book, and it's not fucking cheap. That was a £50 adventure, right? A big adventure, but a £50.
A lot of money, yeah.
Yeah, and it doesn't come with a PDF. So, I asked the publisher, I was like, look, I bought this physical one, and I just want to have, high-quality versions of the maps, please. Thank you. And they said no, and they were charging £40 for the PDF. So it's like, suck a fat bag of dicks.
Yeah,
I think we'll that's basically all there is to say on it. But it is down, and we'll keep an eye on it, see if it comes back up. And yeah, just bear in mind that everything I just said then is not my real opinion, and of course I've never pirated.
No, we completely made all that up.
Yep, it was a joke. It was a sketch.
Yes.
I don't even know what the trade. It was a skit. I don't even know what the trade was.
We were rehearsing for a play where we play pirates who we hate.
Har.
Oh no, it's Partario. He's back.
Oh, God.
I downloaded the Barrow Maze. It's funny because the Partario character was literally just invented so that I could say my real opinions and get away with it. I'm like, it's not me, man. That guy just came in here.
Just spouts off and leaves. Yeah.
Great guy.
Mm-hmm.
Should we discuss what we've been playing, slaying?
Yes, please.
And have one of these. Oi, yeah? What you slaying?
Alright, bitches. Be ready, right? Because we've been playing. I don't know why I'm like this today. So Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles RPG. Well, it's actually called Mutant Hero Beasts because we're not necessarily turtles, and it's also not the RPG. We're playing a Savage Worlds version of it. But yeah, currently my brother's running a Mutant Hero Beasts game, so it's sort of a martial arts inspired. TMNT inspired thing where we're playing mutant animals. We've got Scoter, James's character, who's a surf Scoter duck. I am Albert Einstein, weird scientist pig. We've got Bear Grylls. He's a bear, but he's got the grills like a rapper. So yeah, we've got a base in the sewers. We've got a raccoon boss, and we're crime fighting mutant animals, right? And it's been a lot of fun because what it is that at the moment we've investigated these. There was a group of people wearing pig masks that attacked a school, and we're trying to figure out where they got military grade equipment, what link they have to this company called Ultron, whose passes the military guys had on them. And last session we did a recon mission into the local military base. Just to get information. We weren't killing anyone. We just wanted to get in there and see if there were any transactions being made between the Ultron Corporation and the military, right? See if they're buying the weapons off them. And so, we robbed a army surplus store for uniforms.
Yeah.
But by me faking a seizure, then a couple of the other players trying to go round the back.
Nice.
And I was just dancing out front.
Yeah, James was just dancing out front with a bike helmet on his head to disguise the fact that he's a duck and a crab on top of the helmet.
Oh, he just wanted to create friend.
Yeah, he wanted to create like a weird image so that the proprietor would be like, what the fuck is going on there? And he was just bobbing up and down with a crab on top of his head.
Nice.
It was very funny. And so we got the uniforms. We stormed the base. I can't remember how we got dropped in. So the one character that can fly kind of flew us onto the top of the buildings in the military base while I created a distraction because I'm using the weird scientist edge, Nick. So
nice,
what it is, for people that don't know, they're basically powers, but how they manifest is scientific gadgets. Each one of them has their own pool of mana or power points. And but as my level up, all I've ever done, I've picked a new gadget every single time, and I've got a gun called the New Zoot Dupe. And
New Zoot Dupe.
It's the New Dupe. So it duplicates dudes, and it's the summon ally power. But what it does is it squirts out a blob of flubber that then forms into. At the moment, I can only summon sort of army men and security types, right? But we summoned like an Iraqi soldier and sent him running towards the military base, screaming.
Oh my god!
So then that created a distraction while we all got like dropped onto the roof. I thought this was a pretty cool move. I don't mean to blow my own trumpet, but all I did is I slammed through a vent into one of the meeting rooms and pretended like I was their boss. And I'm like, tuck your shirt in, soldier. Stand up straight when you're talking to a superior and stuff like this.
Yeah.
And trying to freak them
And he
the fuck out.
he aced his role. That's for sure.
Nice.
But yeah, my brother, who's the GM, he was like, okay, that's going to be a -4, right? Because you've just come in, pretended you own the place.
And he got a 15 overall.
It really
With
worked.
the-
And then I was
nice, with
just
the
like,
-4.
I just went up, grabbed a computer and went, all right, maggots, stay shipshape. And then just went back out the hole I made in the roof.
Nice.
But obviously it's Sean's campaign, so even though it was a recon mission and that was very ballsy of Harrison's character to do, because he'd gotten away with it, we were like, sweet, this is amazing, we've done it. And then it's like, right, now we have to escape. And I'm not sure if I've ever had a more difficult experience in trying to escape from somewhere.
The trouble is, though, James, what happened is that I was in one building and the other three were going down into another building, a detention centre, where they actually stole passes, uniforms, guns from some guards, right? But the way they went about it was so fucking convoluted. No, it wasn't actually, really, but it became convoluted because two of them went down in the vents to sneak down. And then the final guy that went down is obese. He's Bear Grylls. He's a bear. He's huge, right? And so
He got stuck in it.
He got stuck in it. So cue firefight with these guys stuck in a vent. Security guards just shooting randomly up at the vent trying to get them. These two trapped in there because the bear's blocking the way. And it took ages for them to get out. And it was just such a clusterfuck.
Oh, man.
It was.
But a beautiful one at that. And that is essentially the game. I mean, the very last thing that happened, Nick, was I got the computer back to the sewers, plugged it into
nice.
our command centre.
Yeah.
And it was just like, I was like rolling wrong and then crit fail. And then, so I spilled coffee on the computer, but somebody spent a penny to influence the story.
Yes.
Yeah.
And dived in front of the coffee. And Sean allowed it, right? And I'm like, all right, I'm going to get back to doing my research rolls. Roll computing, crit fail again.
No. Fuck yeah.
Yeah, so Sean, thankfully, his mind was on point that night. He brilliantly turned it around and said, right, firstly, you find out everything you want to know, but they know exactly where you are now.
Oh,
And it's just like, oh my God.
So
that's good.
One of the players at the table, James T, he said, do we have like a self-destruct button set up? And we were like, yeah, we do. We just push everything into the water in the sewers.
Yeah.
So
fair enough.
we just sort of scooped it into the water, and then that was that. The rest is history. We're moving on to a new base now. We're just gonna.
No.
We're going to the sewers downtown, and Sean says there's like gang activity down in those sewers. So.
Yeah, so we're just walking. I love Sean's campaigns. He's just walk into fucking battles every day.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
the thing about Sean is like, obviously he's my brother and I like him, but he is very weird. Like that's a fact. I like him. He's all right, but he is very weird, and his campaigns have such a unique feel to them. And especially because you always get attacked by animals, right? And then they kill you. That's just a thing that always seems to happen.
That's just the thing.
It's like you're playing Call of Cthulhu and you get attacked by mountain lions. I mean, but like in this particular campaign, obviously we're playing mutant animals. As far as we know, we're
The only ones.
and some of the enemies as well have been mutant animals. But we got attacked by moose.
Mutant mooses.
No, but they weren't even mutants. They were just normal mooses. So moose.
Yeah.
Oh. So
we had to go through the forest, and then they fucking tried to stampede us.
Yeah, we got
Never go through the forest in Sean's game.
Well, we actually said that at the time. Yeah, we actually said that at the time, but it was like we were like, but we don't really have a choice. It's the only cover we have going up to the military base. So people were shooting them from trees. I was blasting them with my heat ray, like loads of things like this.
And then we had a good barbecue by the end of it. It was fucking great.
Oh yeah, because I killed them with the heat
Suffered
ray.
no
Nick.
fatigue points as a result.
we had a nice big like 4 moose just like to eat right there. So it was fucking.
The thing that I find the funniest about Sean's campaign and GMing is that he obviously thinks that it's going to play out in a certain way, but like cinematically, a really long drawn out session where it's a lot of combat and then there's a lot of back and forth. Ultimately, we as the players will succeed, and that's cool. But when we just absolutely like ace it in like half an hour as opposed to 3 hours, he sits there with his face in his hands, and he's just like, oh, yeah, no, that's really good though, but oh.
Well, but he every single scenario he put up in front of us, Nick, we smashed it.
That's the thing.
We just destroyed it, and I was rolling so well throughout the entire night. I don't think I failed a single roll right up until the end when I crit failed the two most important ones. Yeah.
Oh, mate.
Yeah, it was pretty good. We did have Nick. You did attend for a session over the phone because listeners may not know that Nick has moved. He's moved right up north in the deep valleys.
Right up north, mate.
Right up the north.
So unfortunately, Nick couldn't attend, and we did try to. The reason I'm mentioning this is because we tried to have you on a phone at the table, but my brother, he's not the most descriptive GM. He's very much into his props and minis and things like this. So he said for him, it wasn't really working out. But we said to Nick, like, with your current character, you could be a character that comes back whenever you can come down to make it. You can be this character that comes in, a bit like
that's it.
Ace from TMNT. But I just wanted to ask, because the listeners, if you know of any good way to have somebody come in digitally so that it works, can you let us know?
Let us know.
But let's talk about your campaign, Nick, because you're running us through a monthly campaign of Necropolis 2350. And we played the first session last night, and it was a belter. Tell me about it.
Thanks. Yeah, so we're playing Necropolis. For those that don't know it, it's basically Savage Worlds. But it's not a clone, is it? It's a kind of love letter to Warhammer, if you like.
Yeah, it's a bit Warhammer, bit Gears of War, but without all the baggage that kind of comes with Warhammer 40k. So it's simpler, I think, anyway, for playing one session of it. But it has basically emulates the feel of 40k. Like a lot.
There you go. That's it. Yeah, exactly. And it's set on another planet. Humanity's on it in its final last stand against an alien force. We're on a planet, a different planet to Earth. Something happened to Earth a long time ago, and it's just basically big space knights, religious nutters in giant armor, fighting heathens and monsters.
Yeah, so it's kind of gone back to like medieval Catholicism, and the army is called the Third Reformation Church, right? So you have, from what I can tell, there's this kind of military structure where everyone underneath the Grand Master is a sergeant, but the most coveted position is a knight, and then you have chaplains as well, who are like scribes, healers, and also
psychologists,
healers, like your religious man, really.
Remind of the faith, yeah, exactly. And there's different chapters within the church, so you might have like the tank guys or the
and they've all got like really complicated Latin names. So like, there's a flamethrower guy. It's like the Ordo of the Sanctity Flammulae.
Flammulae. yeah.
But we've got the team as it stands, right? So the mission last night was that there was a base away from Mary's Saviour, which is our main base, a base called Dominus. And we had to get there because the signal has gone dark and some of the best knights, or one of the best knights, happens to come from there. And so the current team is, we've got a knight, so he's our boss. And then underneath him, I am a chaplain, so I'm the priest healer type. And then we've got...
Hey, chap.
Chap. They keep calling me, but... Sean, my brother, he's playing a...
Donny.
Yeah, he's playing Donny Nova, part of the Novi sector, which is the vehicle people. So he's a tank driver, basically. And what was cool about last night's session was that right at the beginning, because this is kind of skirmishy type game, it's a lot about battles, controlling troops, things like this. Nick said, all right, you can recruit people for the mission. And so the knight goes off, he recruits 5 sergeants that now work underneath him. I went off, I got myself a page boy to, hold my book when I'm doing spells, things like this. And Sean went off and just spoke to his old tank buddies from like when he was, coming up in the order. And so we ended up with like
and his brother as well, Marky.
And his brother. So what was funny is because I thought, Nick, what you were after really was how do you recruit 5 non-named PCs that you can use in battle, right? But Sean was like, I got up to my mate Walter, right, and John and John's there, and Steve, and I'm like, you're giving Nick so many names to have to remember here. So I actually made a note of it, and it ended up with us all these people packed into a tank, and we had Sean's character's brother running alongside. He's the oiler, so the tanks are so old and battered that you need to keep them constantly under like maintenance. So he was like running outside the tank, oiling it like proper Mad Max style.
That's brilliant.
So fun. Yeah. And then they got attacked by a bunch of like scrap monkeys, but basically just like wasteland folk that come out the ground and stuff. And were trying to rip metal off the tank, and they were like, chap preaching from the top hatch. It's like James's senior knight character's just like knocking these dudes off of the tank and stuff. So that was fun.
And the tank is our biggest asset, so we're trying to make sure that it doesn't get damaged. And it's got like real heavy kind of Gundam-ish vibes to it, James, because it's kind of like we're all part of this tank crew, and it's like very, very, very cool. But the funniest thing is that at one point, the Knight, who's our boss, he runs out, and we see this thing called a Dark Generator, right? And we see some changeling Rephaim. So the alien race are called the Rephaim, and they're like, I don't know. I don't know much about them at the moment, but they're basically
the enemy.
The enemy. And we saw them, they were cloaking themselves, trying to look like they belonged to us, but we figured out that they weren't us, and this Dark Generator was powering them. So the Knight jumps out the fucking tank and goes, right, I'm going to lash some of my filament grenades to the Dark Generator. He drops one, the pin comes out, and then my character, he just goes, Jesus will be my armor. And because he is supposed to protect the tank and protect the people, right? That's his job. I dove onto the grenades and got exploded by them.
Yep.
The reason that I did it was because I thought I'm trying to play him as if he really does think Jesus will save him and that he really needs to protect the other people. So I jumped on them in the hopes that my quite heavy armor would stop the explosions, and I ended up with only one wound and shaken, and I soaked the wound. So he jumps on this grenade, gets blasted back up onto his feet, and he's like, Jesus saves! And it was fucking brilliant, man.
Yeah,
beast, mate. That's fucking
it was
amazing.
really
because I thought if it goes wrong, it'll be funny, but if it goes right, then
then you're a fucking legend.
Yes.
Yeah, and the people on the team will start believing that I really do have that power.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. It was brilliant. And then we had I think we had one more crit fail where the gun turret basically imploded, where the projectile didn't get out properly, so we had to repair the tank.
Our tank that we've got is pretty cool. It's called a Judea medium tank, and it's like it does lob shots, James, so we can basically fire upwards over stuff. And Sean was trying to fire the tank over at the Dark Generator, fucked it, and then the turret exploded. So it was like our main thing was off. But then a couple of these changelings jumped into the back of the tank, and Sean got out his what do they call it? It was a molecular
sword. Yeah,
and it's like this vibrating like energy sword
blade thing. Yeah,
and he was just chopping people up. We had the Knight and his soldiers like running through the thing. I was fucking slinging off spells on top of the tank. It was fucking awesome.
Well, I heard some feedback. Whilst Nick had some mic troubles during the beginning of this episode, me and Harrison were chatting on Discord. And he fed back, James Thomason is a heinous lover of Warhammer 40k. And then apparently he was being so like seductively grossed because he was so excited about
I have never seen somebody more excited for a game. But that's what you want, isn't it, really, from a player?
Yeah, totally, mate. Totally. And I'm glad he grabbed the senior knight role, because obviously he's got quite a lot of, he knows that kind of...
And as a military game, I think you need a little bit of a leader in there. But I've never played something like this, and I think it's so fucking good.
Oh, I'm really enjoying
that particular player, the guy who's playing the Knight deal, last night he just went, I'm getting so wet right now. He loved it. So I've never seen such enthusiasm, but fuck it. I mean, that's what you want. I mean, because we actually, I've got to be honest, we did actually take it semi-seriously. Like, obviously there were laughs in it, but because every single character in Necropolis starts with the vowel hindrance, right? So it means that...
Nice.
Yeah, and it's major, right? So I've got, I respect the leader and the Grand Master as well. So it's like every time they say something, you kind of have to be like, yes, sir, by the name of Jesus Christ, it will be done.
That's fucking awesome. That's so good.
It's really interesting because we've not played like a heavy military game before, and I was a bit nervous how it would all pan out. But it's actually brilliant because you can still do a lot of good role play in there as well. But everything's kind of like you said, there's no greed or anything, because I think there was a bit where Sean was talking about keeping a bit of money. And it's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
obviously they've taken a vow of poverty, chastity, piety,
Humility,
and
yeah,
something
like-
else.
And I think it worked out really well. I mean, I guess in a military campaign, a lot of the role playing comes through what your characters do rather than what they say. But we had some really cool like interludes where we were sharing stories and stuff like in the tank while we were sort of going along.
Mass. Time for mass.
I did a really. We saved a bunch of prisoners, James, and I was like, I'm going to give them the one tool they need to get back to Mary's Saviour. And I was like, I'm going to give them a mass. And the whole game, James, I had a random Bible verse generator up on Google Chrome. But the cool thing was is you can search by keyword, right? So whenever I was killing somebody, I clicked evil, and it would come up, and it would be like, God hath no mercy for the evil, and things like this. And I was just
So good.
yeah, well, great game,
Really good fun.
Necropolis
Thank you.
2350. If you can pick it up, listeners, I think it's out of print, but it is fucking good.
It's very good. Triple Ace games.
Yeah, absolutely. Lastly, obviously, we played the Morkborg actual play. We won't go too much into depth because just listen to it. However, good fucking session. I mean, it was revolving around a fighting tournament in Galgenbeck, and yeah, I don't want to spoil it, but these guys, I mean, it's shorter because these guys were fucking acing everything. So
Yeah, we've done pretty well.
it's a good session. Still enjoying the game as well. We've probably got
Loving
two
it.
more episodes of that AP to come, but yeah, it's a good game. Go and listen to that.
Oh, it's
Mate.
so much fun. Yeah, check it out.
Missed
check
it.
it out.
Missed it.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, totally missed doing that.
Well, it's fun getting back into it as well because we kind of just really slipped straight back into the characters,
Yeah,
even though we were away for
totally.
like a
It
year.
was just
Yeah.
it was like nothing had happened in that realm really.
It was
My
brilliant.
lord.
My lord.
Just entered.
Right,
That
what else?
picture that someone posted of Torn was spot on.
Oh yeah, it's like this because Nick's character's like this diseased drug dealer, and like the picture was kind of like it was just I mean it was just this old.
perfect.
It was like an Igor type.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Exactly that.
But that's
Nailed
it for what we've been slaying this time. Shall we do some main subject?
Yes, we fucking should. Let's get evil.
Main. Subject. Magic. Main. Subject. Tokyo. Main. Subject.
So everyone who has ever run a game has fallen victim to the chaotic, stupid moron who just does what he wants, claiming that their character is evil, so they do whatever they want. But anyone with writing experience will tell you that making a compelling villain in any story is about moral complexity, a trait not often associated with player characters. So how can you run an evil campaign where the evil PCs are morally complex, interesting, and not simply murder hobos who kill anyone if it means a free gold piece? Well, today we're going to discuss just that. Having run many evil one-shots, 3 evil campaigns, and had many actually decent evil characters in my heroic campaigns, I think I can offer some decent advice, and as my loyal colleague Nick Lamley, who has run games for the biggest group of morons this side of Evilton, I think you can chime in too. And James, you've been there while people have played evil characters, and
Yeah.
so that's what we're going to discuss. It's going to be an informal discussion, all right? We're smoking pipes,
Yep.
We're chilling. We've got a coffee. It's like it's informal.
We're in the lounge.
The lounge. The lounge.
We're in the lounge today.
It's so weird because I'm not in a lounge and I've got the shittest recording setup I think I've ever had because I'm in my baby's room, right, where there's still a lot of stuff yet to be unboxed or put up on the walls and stuff like this. And yesterday I was doing a hypnobirthing session, don't ask, and ended up setting up my computer really hastily. So it's in the middle of the floor, all these wires coming out the room. I'm surrounded by fucking baby shit. It's like...
Rate my setup.
I saw one on Reddit once. It was like, rate my gaming setup, and it was an empty room with a Game Boy in the middle of the floor.
Nice.
Aw.
That's the sort of thing I'm rocking at the moment. That's my rig.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, evil campaigns. I think we've also asked you guys in the Electro Letters segment for what you think as well. But for now, let's talk about how we run evil campaigns. And first of all, I wanted to... Well, I mean, let's discuss the Morkborg one, because that's an evil campaign that you, the listener, hopefully have been present for. and it's the world is ending, but the players aren't motivated to save it. The player characters are motivated to get revenge on the people that killed them as they got resurrected by necromancy. And
I think that there's two types of evilness that are currently really apparent in that campaign. There's two of them. The first one being the descriptive nature. It's inherently evil because of the setting and everything and the way it's been described. You know, it always like dark, damp, and like grotesque and proper sort of just black metal horror kind of stuff. But then, the evil nature of our characters, because we are just stricken with revenge. We just want it. We seek it, and we're...
Yeah, because, like, the actual setting itself kind of encourages evil. I know what you mean, because it's like, if you're playing an evil character, often a lot of the descriptions are really important. Like, how do you kill the guy? You don't do it honorably. You cut his ears off, or, you know, whatever. And yeah, you're right, and yeah, it's like also what the characters are doing. But the thing is, at the moment, right, there is actually a certain level of morality. It's low, let's be honest, but to your two characters, because there's sort of certain things where if you respect somebody, for example, when there was a character that you'd met before, and when you killed her eventually in a fight, but respected her, you actually did say sorry. There is like some morals there, and you don't kill everyone straight away, especially if they're useful to you. That's it.
Like, we're not evil for the sake of being evil. The drive is there.
But then,
the drive is revenge. So unless you're against us, then you potentially could be with us.
Yeah.
Very, very good point. And that, I think, is... Because the thing is, right, nobody sees their character, or nobody sees themselves in real life as evil, right? Even the most evil people ever, like Hitler, for example, thought he was doing the world a favour. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And so, when it comes down to it, nobody just goes around killing for the fun of it. Or if they do, they're probably mentally deranged. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like with your characters, there's a mission. That's what the mission. You're going to do a lot of bad things to get there, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you're always going to do the worst, most heinous thing in any situation.
Exactly.
Which is often how people see evil. Do you know what I mean? The good thing is that you two have a very, very good chemistry together, and we didn't say, oh, let's make it morally complex. I didn't lay anything out. It just happened to be that way where the story was that way, and you guys ended up focusing on the mission. It could have gone the other way. It could have been you guys just killing anyone that gets in your path, but actually, you've treated a couple of people, not many, but a couple of people with respect, and you've also only really done things for the mission. Let me put it this way: the last session with this tournament, the guy had he was in possession of the location of one of the people you wanted to get revenge on. And he was organising a tournament. He asked you to fight in it. You could have threatened him and fought him instantly, but the way you guys saw it was A, the buy-in to the actual play, but also B, that if you kill him, you risk missing out on it. So you actually kept him alive and actually showed him a bit of respect.
Yeah.
Although not much.
Not a great deal, but a bit.
but we're lucky, really, that the characters have evolved in that way, and you guys are such decent role players. But it's like, what do you do then if... Because Morkborg doesn't actually have a morality system built in, does it?
No.
But it's just that's how it's gone. I can imagine a lot of people just... if you played Morkborg with the average PC, right, it would be fighting, killing, raping, shooting, right?
Right.
Do you reckon... So... How do you think you can mitigate that if players are like that? If they are murder hobos and they're consistently like that, what do you reckon? What do you do? Especially if there's no morality system built into the game.
So, you got to try. Well, I would try and give different situations where there's not one straight answer for it, whether it be good or evil. Do you see what I mean? So, kind of really put the ball into the player character's court again. So it's like, okay, you can go in and just be brutal and evil for the sake of being evil, but at what gain? And why is it worth it? Like, it's short-lived, isn't it? Oh, look, we just killed this character because we can. All right, good. Okay, but what if, like you said, like Harrison, you have a good little a good little trick which always hits home is like when something happens and then you loot a body and it's like, oh look, you find a photo of their kids in there, and that's like, oof. Even the most evil person,
bring it back.
Is oof,
bring it back.
Make them less like, so the things that they are attacking, give them depth. It's not just a monster or a person that's in the way. Like there's more to it than that, and really try and tug at the morality yourself. Give them this kind of see how they react to it, because like you said, even in the most evil characters aren't evil to their self, right?
Yeah, well, exactly. I mean, sorry, James, go on.
No, I'd say there's also another trick that's been used in another campaign that we had, but probably not for this reason. But if you tie in the characters' alignment, and it'd just be like, if they consistently evil, or have it so, like Planescape, the alignment changes, so then it will force them to not be evil, like that. If there's an actual human like player at the table just being a cunt, and you just think, right, I need to I don't want him to just sabotage the whole game. Just be like, right, your alignment is forever changing, and after you've done X amount of deeds relating to that alignment, then it will change. Well, and then it means that they have to change tact.
Yeah, and like some older systems will dock points for you acting against alignment. I think that's kind of dumb, but changing alignment is kind of a good one. And like, you can just gently remind players. They won't think you're a cunt if you just go, "Don't forget, mate, you're lawful good," right?
Yeah.
And then they might come up with a situation where they'll probably do it anyway, right? That's just it. But they'll give a reason. They'll be like, "No, it's desperate times. I'm mostly lawful good, but I have to kill this guy because and I'll regret it." And you maybe make them think about the character a bit more. Do you know what I mean?
As long as they start actually realizing, this doesn't suit my character's, background, the way I've built him. So. I should remember that I'm playing a character.
Planescape as well, like it's a good example because Planescape is such a bizarre, imaginative setting that it really brings home that you don't just have to stick with, oh, the guards are coming after you because you killed this guy, right? Think about it. If you're chaotic evil, let's say if you're true neutral, right, and you start doing chaotic evil shit. And suddenly, the neutral gods don't like it, and they put a pox on you, or curse you, or send their minions after you. Powerful fucking things, right? And in Planescape in particular, if you're playing on Sigil, which for some reason most games do take place there, if you act in an unneutral manner and skew the neutral plane's alignment towards another alignment, it becomes closer to another thing, and then... Yeah, so if all the players are being chaotic, well, suddenly A, the Lady of Pain, who basically looks after Sigil, is going to come after you. But B, demons might be able to come to Sigil now, and or like specifically like really powerful ones that are going to come there to fuck shit up. And then you've got an adventure on your hands, and also the players will learn their fucking lesson, maybe to...
Yeah, exactly. Ramifications. So, like, actions have consequences, right? So, it might be quite fun and easy and evil at the time to do something to someone, but then... seeing the fallout firsthand can bring that back a bit, I think.
And as I say, the go-to is always the guards come after you, they're going to arrest you. PCs are the best at outrunning the guards because they do it all the time, right? Yeah. So just, so you can come up with a number of different things. Like if we were playing DCC, for example, if you started acting really chaotically, well, there's corruption tables, mate.
Yeah.
Whack on a greater corruption to somebody where suddenly their eyes are on their back and they'll be like, "Fuck, I need to stop this."
Wish I'd have done that. Yeah.
I like the corruption table. It works really well because it just it deforms you, doesn't it?
Yeah,
it really
and you've got minor, major, and greater, right? So give them a minor one, maybe their skin changes colour. Now people know that they're evil, right?
Yeah.
And then when they do it again, right, give them a major one, and they'll go, "Shit, this is getting worse. Now I've got scales, but I don't actually have the powers of a fish." That's a little quote for the Foreign Beggars fans there. But so the punishments that you can dole out, especially in games that have magic and shit like this, which a lot of them fucking do, not even limited just to fantasy games. you can really get creative with it, and that's a good way to punish players and make them think about their actions before they do it.
Yeah.
Another pretty cool one I've seen, because another evil, in air quotes, evil campaign I've run was Tough Guys, right? And the good thing about Wise Guys and Tough Guys is that the built-in sort of morality thing for it isn't like morality points, and it's not this black and white thing where either you're evil or you're good. It's not like either murder the school bus full of children or take them on as your orphan children. Do you know what I mean? It's not like that. You're criminals, right? You're thieves, but the fact of the matter is that in character creation, you have to pick a redeeming trait for your character, and a good GM will use those for downtime, right? Great example being Sydney. He was James's character. He was a roadman, right? So these are often young black kids in urban areas that deal drugs. It's an actual thing that happens in this country. But they're often, part of families that are deeply religious and, people that moved here many, many years ago and very grateful to have moved here, And so it's like Sydney's nan, his whole redeeming characteristic was that he looks after his grandma, right? Mm-hmm. And he would go back there, and because she's just a normal person that moved to this country, Sydney got caught up in the gang lifestyle. And when she hears about him hanging out with the gang, she slaps him, and she's like, "I can't believe you're doing that. You need to behave yourself. What did I tell you about that?"
And it's that typical thing of if speaking to mum on the phone, you change your voice because you're with your mates and you're like, "Yeah, bro, I'm gonna do like this and that, yeah," and then you get on your phone and say, "Oh, hello, mum, how are you? Yes, sorry, yes, I'll be home for dinner." Yes.
Love it. Yeah, and
and it's like that kind of thing.
There's no questioning, right, that Sydney is a bad person. Of course he is. He's a gangster. He deals. Well, you ended up dealing cocaine, heroin, dealing in prostitution, killing people, right? But there's that humanizing side. You still want them to be the character you're going to root for, but you know they're evil. I mean, that's just a fact. But the thing is that, you've got this little humanizing thing that the GM can use, and I think put that in just about every game. Like, what's the one good thing your guy does on a reg? Because Mickey,
because then you can kind of like utilize. What's the downtime thing that you do when you interludes? There you go. Sorry, it came to me. You can utilize interludes if there's a player at a table and you're trying to move them away from just being a dick the whole time. You could be like, right, this is the time to play out your redeeming characteristic. We're going to do an interlude.
Who hurt you
now? Yeah, and just be like, right now, and an interlude is like, if people don't know, it's a really interesting way of building upon your character to like further sort of deepen who they are, to allow everyone else and maybe even yourself understand more about them.
Yeah, and the good thing is, like you say, if they have those redeeming characteristics, and if they're just being a dick and playing chaotic stupid the whole time, well, maybe their mum calls them up. I mean, you promised your mum you would take her to see We Will Rock You this weekend or whatever. The beauty is that you're not being a dick by saying that. You're not like, "Oh, I'm imposing this upon your character." They chose it, so it is, and it's like it just feels natural, right? You're playing evil characters, but what's the good thing that you do, right? Because even Hitler was nice to his dog, I assume. I mean, he eventually killed the dog, but up to a point. And he was a vegetarian. So, if you were playing the most evil man ever, right, that could be his redeeming characteristic. He doesn't eat meat, and maybe he's a militant vegetarian.
He's got a pet sheep.
And he's like, do not eat the meat. Stay off of my meat. Mine. But obviously don't play Hitler in a campaign.
God's sake.
Is that's
only, unless it's shit.
Hold on a minute. Didn't we have a mech Hitler?
Yeah, that was in Secret Files of Section D, which is heavily inspired.
No, it wasn't. It was the my God, no. We all played it years ago for Pathfinder. Don't you remember?
Oh God, yeah. But the main villain in this Pathfinder game that we played was time traveling to different points in history and recruiting the most powerful people to be a part of his army. Genghis Khan, Hitler, Jesus, Muhammad Ali. Like, it was just ridiculous. But and then there was Mecha Hitler because I am an idiot.
Now this English name, this English name? Pippin.
Another good rule of thumb, right, is to... I don't think I've ever seen, ever once, and this is a minor point, but ever once a character that played a racist character and did it with any kind of nuance. It's always, I hate goblins because they killed my family. I hate orcs because they killed my family. I hate elves because I'm a dwarf and we had a racial... it's like, shut up.
Yeah.
That is a really... if you want to play an arsehole, don't go for that. I'm not saying that it's something that should never be talked about at the table. That's fine, but I've never seen it done well. That's the problem.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the only ones that are kind of done well, the ones where you don't necessarily... Well, is when they're not tied to being like down to race or anything like that, where it's like a backstory. Like you're trying to get vengeance and that's what you're driven by. It's those kind of things, not just they killed my family, so I don't like all of them. It's like when it's sort of honed in on a particular singular character, like in GenLab when you was the Moose, Harrison, was you had like a vengeance against someone in
The
particular.
man with the peg leg.
Yeah, I had a part of my backstory that my wife was killed, and the only thing I saw as the guy was escaping was that he had a peg leg, so I was looking for him. And I kind of the reason I did that was to give you, like, if you ever wanted to do a side shit, like, here's a part of my backstory you can use if you fancy.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like, and he wasn't an evil character, but if I was, then I've got that motivation, and like. The people in the Tough Guys campaign, it's English gangsters, they're motivated by greed. That's a fact.
Yeah.
And that's often the thing you don't do when you're making a character. You don't go, he wants money. But, in the particular case of Tough Guys, because you pick that redeeming characteristic, it means, okay, all the characters are motivated by greed. Fact. However, they're motivated by greed because Sydney would buy his mum a house, or another guy might bring Elton John over to the house to sing the hits, or buy his favourite football club. Things like this. Do you know what I mean? It's like suddenly there you've got not a morally super complex thing, but it's better than I just want money. Why? So I could be rich. Duh.
Yeah.
But then if you really, really, really can't just get the players just to think about it more by doing these techniques. These are like non-systemic techniques, right? They don't have any gameplay implications necessarily when it comes down to the numbers. But there are some systems that maybe use a system to stop people from fucking around, and I actually think that it can be quite useful. Vampire, right? So in Vampire, you start off with a humanity score, and the more animalistic things you do, you lose humanity, and it's actually very difficult to get back. So there's no question about it, right? You are a person that eats people, okay? And that's generally not accepted in today's society, which I think is bang out of order. Right?
Yeah, I mean, come on, when did that change?
Yeah. I mean, SJWs, right?
Come on, anti-cannibals.
Anti-cannibals.
How dare they?
I bet you in like 5 years' time there'll be like a movement for that. It'll be like 15 people from Reddit that'll be like,
Stop eating people, man.
Please don't call us cannibals. We're actually human diet people. HTPs. But the thing about vampires, you have a humanity score, and it's not necessarily how evil you are, but if you act in an animalistic way and do things purely out of instinct and anger, you're going to lose humanity. And once that's run out, you are so insane you're an NPC now. End of.
That's it.
And it's perhaps a bit ham-fisted, but it's a great way of doing things. I felt there was
bloody smart. I
We
think.
had to be really careful about stuff. Do you remember we had a little snack on the uni students down the alleyway, and we had to be really careful.
Well, I mean, that explains all of it, really. I mean, it's like it's literally like, here's some kids, let's eat them, and it's like that's just a snack. But then what I would do, usually, if somebody says they're going to do something, I just say, right, okay, roll for it. But in this particular case, if you've got a system like that in place, just say, okay, yeah, you can do that, but there's a feeling in your mind that if you do that, you'll slip further towards animalism.
Yeah, that's it.
And then players will go, is it worth it? Do you know what I mean? They'll assess the risk at this point.
Yeah, that's right.
I think it's a great one. I mean, I've considered...
That's a very good idea.
Considered using it in other campaigns as well, but yeah, I mean, also Vampire does the cool thing of, before you've rolled any stat, what does your character want outwardly, and what do they want really inside?
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
and then you get so much better out of people from that.
Yeah, you get great role playing from Vampire.
And you know what, like, twice in my... No, actually, I think only once. I played a campaign where it's so evil it's comical, right? It's like, there was a point... it was a campaign I played at work with one of our team leaders actually running it, and he... the way he played it was just like, we were just comically, stupidly evil. Like, to the point where, at some point, we realised that we could get HP back from just eating everyone we killed. So we killed everyone we pretty much met and ate them. There was a point where
That's fucked up.
we were trying to get... We went to the local shop and the guy was like, there's no rope, right? And we were like, okay, let's just steal a bunch of underwear from prostitutes. And so we set up a trap consisting of a bunch of rakes in a shed. And then shove them in there. And of course, they stand on the rakes, they get hit by the rakes, and then we've got a shed full of knocked out prostitutes.
Perfect.
So I think if you are going to play the chaotic stupid, just go fucking ham on it, man. Go crazy.
Yeah,
make it big. Make it weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know if you guys have got any extra advice, but the last one I wanted to give was like with Dungeon Craft, he has a morality meter that he puts on the bottom of every character sheet, right? Everyone starts off in the middle. And you can go up to a +3 or a -3, right? +3 is going to get you discounts on shit in stores. It's going to mean people know you for being famous. -3, once you get to that, you're so evil, you're now an NPC.
Perfect. And he does that in everything.
Oh, so
Yeah, I mean, because it works. I mean, at the end of the day, right, I don't expect everyone to be good guys in my campaigns. I mean, a lot of times in D&D, for example, you're going after treasure. You're killing monsters without even thinking about their family life, you know?
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
But all I ask at the beginning of every campaign is that your loyalty is to the team. I don't care if you're evil. I don't care if you're motivated by bad shit, but your loyalty has to be to the team. At the end of the day, when the chips fall down, what is it? When the chips
are down?
Yeah, when the chips are down, your loyalty is to the party, and most often than not, the party are going to be heroes with maybe one evil guy. So, and if you say your loyalty is to the party and they're doing the good stuff, then the evil guy becomes more of a renegade or an anti-hero. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. And it works.
But, yeah, I mean, that's basically most of what I've got to say on the matter. Nick, do you have any tips?
Well, I was just thinking of one earlier, and another thing as well is, like, not penalising story, but, like, you know, making like, again, going back to actions and consequences, but like a good example would be like let's say, you know, when people are just unnecessarily dickish to shop owners.
Yeah,
it's a bit of a gripe of mine. And you know, let's say for argument's sake it escalates into a full-blown fight, which it has happened in games before. I think we had a knife fight out the back with a shop owner. Yeah, exactly. You know, that shop owner gets killed. Then way later on down the line, when they're on a big mission or quest that they're actually invested in, perhaps that shop owner weren't just a shop owner. You know, they were part of this mission that can't be completed fully now because of the actions that happened earlier.
Yeah, consequences are really fucking important because again, like running an evil campaign is a really good idea. All it is you just need to be morally complex. I mean, if you're skirting that line, I guess mainly the biggest piece of advice we're saying is this. Don't be fully evil. Have morals. You could be a bad guy. You could be considered to be an arsehole by everyone in the fucking world. But you have to have a set of morals and a code.
Your own set of morals. Yeah.
You can't just be, I'm going to kill somebody for a discount on a club. Do you know what I mean? It's like...
Yeah, because you need to understand like the bigger picture. It's like I've noticed, and I think it is purely because we played tough guys beforehand, and now we've slipped straight into mutant hero beasts, right?
What was that?
That's
Harrison's bum. All right, well, so I'm talking about Harrison's bum, and no one knows why now. So, in Sean's campaign, obviously we are sitting there being, even though it's like current date, we're a bit nostalgic about it because it's Mutant Hero Ninja Turtles.
Yep.
And we're meant to be heroes and good guys, but like we go in a shop, like we mentioned earlier, and we fucking robbed it, and it's just like I'm kind of sitting there on the fence, like, well, I'm still got this moral compass where I'm not really keen on it, but at the same time I'm not going to bring the whole party down because it's actually a funny interaction.
But in this particular case, it's kind of more moral because the way we're justifying it to ourselves, and this is often what players will do anyway, is that it's for the greater good. And when I stole a computer off a shop owner, because I needed some information off it. There's a lot of stealing computers in this campaign, but I stole a shop owner's laptop.
Yeah, no, but you're bringing it back.
I promised to bring it back. I'm like, don't worry, sir. We're heroes. We never steal, and I'm just borrowing it. I'll bring it back later. And so I'm bringing the guy's laptop back later, and all the army surplus uniforms we'll give him back.
Of course we will.
Exactly. So I mean, that is like a cartoon level of morality, but we're playing a cartoon game. Even that is better than I'm going to kill you because I want a potion, right? I mean, what sense does that fucking make anyway? I mean, but it happens so often. What PCs hate shopkeepers, but that's not.
Can we kill it?
It's not really morally interesting or even that fun to threaten somebody. Sometimes I've found, right, if you want to keep it so that the character's morally complex, you kind of, if a good player's like doing the improv thing of yes and, right, and they go, you better give me 5 gold pieces off that sword or I'm going to stick this dagger in your throat. Have the shopkeeper go, you always were the joker. Anyway, here you go, that'll be 15 gold pieces, please, and just sort of kind of treat them like, because then if the player goes, of course, you know, we got this little thing where we pretend to kill each other, you know.
or like I think you've done it before when like we've been unnecessarily rubbish to an NPC and then the NPC's just like, why are you doing this to me? What have I done to you? Why are you doing it? I'm really bringing it home. Him out. Do you know what I mean? Just calling him out for it, going, why are you being such an arse to me? I'm just trying to help you. And then it's like, now you've got to explain. Or
but this
go
is
through
what I
with
like
the action.
In the Mork Borg campaign as well. When you paid this woman for information, and I was even trying to get edge you in a certain direction where your talking sword then spoke up and was like, right, well now we got the information. Why don't you batter and take your money back? And the both of you are like, no. She's been very helpful, and she's, you know, you don't get a woman and things like this, and like that just makes your character slightly more interesting.
Totally.
Than just being an evil fucktard. And also, just fucking ban chaotic evil at your table. Simple as that. Unless you really trust the player can be like good at this type of thing, ban chaotic evil. Lawful evil is interesting. Even to an extent, neutral evil, if the character has their own moral code, that's interesting. Chaotic evil, that's just a gibbering maniac.
Exactly, unless, I guess, it's a matter of perspective. So if you're playing a chaotic evil campaign and they're all chaotic evil, but the whole way the whole game is set up is that the bad guys are the good guys and the good guys, you know, are actually the bad guys in the game, then it's a little bit different, isn't it?
Yeah, because I guess if you did have a chaotic evil character, and let's say by society they were considered to be a chaotic evil character, but then maybe they're a barbarian, right, that don't believe in civilization because cities are places where people are miserable and they drink and they gamble and things like this, and they're kind of anti-civilization, so they want to go back to a more anarchic state of tribes. Do you see what I mean? Like, maybe something like that, you know. I think that would be
the other classic when you're playing a bunch of goblins, right? And you know, and in normal games, goblins are enemies and they're just there to be slain. But if you're a bunch of goblins with feelings and drive and emotion, and it's the adventurers that keep coming into your nice little tidy, you know, hovels and keep slashing your family up and stuff, you know, that's fine, isn't it?
Well, there's a fantastic adventure for Saga the Goblin Horde that kind of pinpoints that. It's like evil in the eyes of certain people. Like there are certain things you would do that somebody, a good human, would never do. Like there are certain methods. Maybe you're very brutal at killing and stuff like this, but you have your own weird set of morals within your tribe. And funny enough, in Richard's game, there's one where you have to track this guy down. And in the final encounter, you see him regaling the bar with tales and stories, and everyone's laughing and having a good time. And of course, the goblins, they run in and kill them. They don't know the backstory. The pub people don't know the backstory, so all they see is 2 goblins run in and kill this fucker. And it's like, so that's why goblins are considered to be evil, because they don't know why they've done it. They might have a good reason.
But there's more to it. Yeah, there's more to it than that. Yeah, exactly that.
Yeah. So, I mean, we've talked a lot about, like, you know, how to get your players to play decent, you know, evil characters, how to run a decent evil campaign. But I think overall, I guess what we can take away from this is instead of just saying I'm evil, be an asshole with some morals, right?
Yes.
And if you're running an
They can
evil
be twisted as you like, but they need to be there.
Yes, exactly. And if you're running an evil campaign, I think some advice is to make the turn, like the downturn into animalism and evil, make that a theme of the campaign, right?
Yeah.
Or in the case of Solomon Kane, when I ran it, you were playing guys that were sent to hell and were resurrected and had to learn to be good. And that's another good way of doing it, because they're going to fall back into evil habits, but ultimately they've got a chance to redeem themselves.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, if you're running a campaign, just, make sure that it's got evil as a theme, and maybe have it so that going too far means you become an NPC, or going too far means you get corruption. Ravenloft does it. You could do it with DCC, so I think
mutations,
those
like
are
that.
mutations, whatever, man. Those are the tips. Those are the tips.
I like it.
They're really good ideas.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think we've solved that problem for once and for all, right?
That's done.
It's done. No more. No more.
You evil bastards.
If I meet one more chaotic evil character, I will kick you in the bollocks.
And then I'll eat you.
And then I'll...
All right.
Okay, all right. Let's go
I'll
to
sick
electro
you
letters
back
anyway,
up.
because we
Yeah.
asked the listeners what they thought, and let's have a... Let's go.
In the future, you will be able to send a letter or parcel from anywhere on the planet. This, sir, is the electro letter.
Let's go.
So yeah, we asked for your tips for running evil campaigns or playing evil characters, and you guys came out in droves. It went interstellar. Robert Woford, he says, my group doesn't have an issue playing evil. It is chaotic that causes the issues. An evil group, untied to a cause, is still trying to accomplish something. When one or more characters just do whatever the hell they want to each other and the NPCs, the pure fuckery is when it falls into the massive PvP endgame hellfest.
Yeah.
Guilty. I have done that a couple of times where I've attacked players, and I've since learnt not really to do it. But yeah, we've said that, loyalty has to lie with the group. Don't go robbing each other and just doing whatever you want. And even if you are chaotic, maybe it doesn't need to just be chaotic means I do whatever I want. Chaotic could just mean that you hate red tape. You hate society.
Yeah, I was
going to
say, anarchy. There's anarchy there as well, isn't
because
there?
anarchy isn't just, pure chaos. There's a sort of logic to it. It's about more...
Yeah, some kind of logic.
Taking down a system or something,
like anti-system, punkish. You could be anti-establishment people.
Anti-establishment, non-conformist.
Yeah, exactly. There's so many more ways to play chaotic more interestingly. And so yeah, very good point. Chaotic is often the one that people don't quite understand. Could be nuanced.
Yeah, absolutely.
Luis Pineda, he says each has their own motivation that just happens to align with the others, but once they reach the goal, or if one of the other characters interferes with their goals, they will turn on each other. I suggest each player having a secret breaking point they only share with the GM that would trigger them to turn on the others. Maybe even have one of them be good, just deep undercover for an opposing organisation. And that's a cracking idea. Because if you're playing wise guys or tough guys, right? And at the beginning, each player pass the GM something. You could say, if there's ever a significant amount of money up for grabs, I'm taking it all and leaving, right?
Okay, yeah, I'm going to the Bahamas.
Or if somebody turns on me, I will kill them, or something like that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That what will get them
I'm a
to
deep
snap.
undercover agent, and will stay that way unless something happens.
I did actually consider trying to get one of you to play an undercover cop right at the beginning of the campaign,
that'd be
but
cool.
I thought it would be fun. But I mean, I didn't really want to force people to play a certain type of character.
Yeah.
But the secret agenda thing is good, and I've never ever seen it not work out interestingly. What's that fucking adventure we really like? Intrigue at the Court of Chaos, right?
Yes.
When all of the gods go to the characters and depending on their alignment and tell them
Have a private chat. Yeah.
and they're basically like, look, bring me the egg and I'll get you some
That
really
was
good
it.
shit.
That was
you know?
it. Yeah. That was so cool.
And it always ends up, because it's a secret agenda and players are thinking about it, it's not just random violence against other PCs. It's like, shit,
got
I
to be
get really good
calculated,
raw.
doesn't it?
It's like,
Yeah,
I'm really fucking
yeah.
sorry, but I'm going to have to kill you now, you know.
Why? Because I need the egg.
I need that egg, mate. Timothy Peer, he says, your character doesn't know, there's a spelling error there, they are evil to them. It's not a choice of good or bad, it's about what they want. You don't need to destroy your fellow party members. Sorry, some gas came up through my neck there. to get... Okay, you don't need to destroy your fellow party members to get what you want. They are your resources. They can even be your friends. Casually throwing away resources isn't how you get what you want. By using them efficiently, you keep them happy so that they keep being useful. This is how I played a goblin lawyer. Okay, alright, this is taking a turn, Timothy. This is how I played a goblin lawyer who was an awful person. He killed, he lied, and cheated his way through life, but his party were his party, and that's company property, and you don't misuse or damage company property. Perfect.
What?
But that's a
Goblin
good.
lawyer.
But it's
Such
really
a
good, right? Because he's playing a character that is inherently absurd, and he's even on that level of absurdly evil, right?
Yeah.
But he's
a
come up
lawyer
with
as
a
well.
way.
Jesus.
He's come up with a way where he respects what the party wants, right? Because he's like,
Yeah.
if I don't feed these people, if I steal from them, they're not going to be able to do my killings.
And what the fuck am I going to do then?
Yeah, exactly. That's a good way of doing
That
it.
is funny.
And also,
I like
goblin lawyer. We've got to do like
Yeah,
a goblin
that's funny.
court
Oh,
drama.
can we have a
sometime.
goblin cult drama? Yes, please. That'd
Yeah.
be so fucking good. I still think about the last courtroom drama that we done, and it was one of the best episodes I've ever played. It was
So
just
much fun.
amazing. Yeah.
More lawyers in campaigns. Not raw lawyers, though. It would be like, no, we
Yeah.
could do like a making a murderer, but it would be making a murder hobo.
yeah.
Yorkus Rex, he says, remember that evil doesn't mean stupid. Thank you, Christ. An evil party should work together for a common goal. Yes. It's not an open invitation for PvP antics. You don't steal from each other. You don't shove the wizard into a pit for a laugh. You don't burn every orphanage built too close to the road you're travelling. I played in a city-based evil campaign for several years. The group was a loose collection of thieves and scoundrels that worked as a team to maximise power and profits. The group had strict rules about not screwing each other over, and definitely no inter-party combat. If you broke either of these and were caught, then it was open season on your PC. We used the criminal crew from the movie Heat as an inspiration. An evil party needs to be unified in their goals and subtle in their execution. No mustache-twirling laughter as you indiscriminately toss fireballs at the lawful temple. You want schemes and plans laid with alibis and deniability. It's not an unfettered power trip with the goal of chewing all the GM's scenery.
Well, is this like the whole honorary amongst thieves thing, isn't it?
Yeah, well,
Honor
exactly.
amongst thieves, should I say? Honorary.
Because in Wise Guys, for example, the Italian NPCs that work for Looney John, yeah, you steal from anyone. Other gangs is
Yeah.
fine, but if you turn on the mafia, well then the mafia are just going to have you killed. Simple as that.
Well, this is it, yeah.
And I mean, it was, I don't know if it was a dick move or not, but when I tried to steal from the party and I pulled a gun out on the Don in Wise Guys, right?
Oh, my God, yeah.
I mean, this was the end of the campaign, so it's kind of all right. But the Eric just said, okay, the Don just has you killed. Simple as that. And you were within your rights for the GM to do it. There's no escaping. He just says, look, you've been caught, you're getting killed. End of story.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, that works. And also,
We've all seen Goodfellas.
We've all seen Goodfellas.
happens. Yeah.
More
You
like
know.
bad fellas, am I right? They're bad guys. But yeah, fucking. I've been rereading the Lankmar novels recently.
Oh,
and
nice.
yeah, I mean that's about two thieves. They're not necessarily. The cool thing about it as well is they're both thieves, but one of them's more of a fighter type and one of them's more of a sneaky type. But they steal shit, so they're thieves. And
Yeah.
the cool thing about it is that what makes it so enjoyable, I think, the stories is the characters are called Fafford and the Grey Mouser, right? But the thing about those
Nice.
two is that they are the best of fucking friends. As soon as they met, they knew they were really good mates and that they had similar interests. They like stealing, they like getting loads of money, then they like spending the fucking lot of it and having a good time, then going out
It's
and
like
robbing
foreign
again.
beggars.
It's exactly like foreign beggars, really. But yeah, so that's kind of the thing. Do you know what I mean? It's like actually playing the guys as friends. I know you're thieves, but the thing is, you're thieves with a common goal. You're like family. Do you know what I mean?
People as well, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. And that's what makes it more, gives it extra levels of emotion and stuff, makes it interesting.
Because you're bad guys, but you don't steal from each other. And like you
But
say,
you're good guys to each other.
better morals. It's much more interesting to have guys that really respect each other and would do anything for each other. When that bank job goes wrong and one of them goes down because he's been shot in the leg,
Yep.
and you're more inclined to go back and save him, well,
Yeah.
that's way more interesting. Like, nah, see you later.
Yeah, totally. After like 10 years of being together, and then you
Yeah,
could just
yeah.
drop him like that. Yeah, exactly.
Imagine that.
Yeah,
Just imagine that. Just drop you. But yeah.
totally.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry,
mate. Been laugh.
Yeah, I mean, that's just boring, but it's the comically evil thing to do, but it's also the shit unfunny thing to do. I mean, going back and trying to pick somebody up, imagine if that got into a fumble fest as well. That's when you have the most fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's like,
totally.
so, a very, very good point there, Yorkers. Garrett Weinstein, we've got 2 more of these. Garrett Weinstein, he comes in, he says, tell the players up front that if they're going to play an evil character, they should try to act like Lex Luthor or Loki, not the Joker. Everyone stops having fun, and the game collapses real fast when players try to play characters who are antisocial and disruptive solely for the sake of being antisocial and disruptive.
Exactly.
Yep.
Because
I'll argue with that.
I've never been like the kind of guy that's like, if somebody does say, I'm just playing my character, I'm like, okay, fine, that's fine. I don't mind. You do that. But the only thing is that there is a certain type of comical evil where all you're doing is disrupting what the other players want to do. I don't mind, let's say, for example, if you guys are out on a mission and... Well, let's give it the bank job example, right? You're like, okay, we're going to do this quietly. We're going to go up and we're just going to, we don't want anyone to raise any alarms. So let's keep it down low. And then one guy goes, fuck you, bitch, and shoots one of the bank tellers in the head, right? I understand that that's something that can go wrong on a mission. And if a player does that, that's fine, right? But it's like, from that point onwards, you just try to be helpful and don't make sure it doesn't happen too fucking often. Do you know what I mean? Because that's one of the biggest problems. Is when that player's fucking up everything you're trying to do. I can allow, like, 1 or 2 transgressions because it's going to happen. Things get heated. But it's like when...
when people... people like trying to maybe expand on their hindrances or whatever, or something that they've built in to act like a hindrance if it's not Savage Worlds. And they're just like, I'm just playing like as my character would. It's just like, yeah, but you're in a very, very high profile situation. Surely your character at that moment wouldn't allow that to
take over completely.
To come out and be such a dick. And it's just like, yeah, but they've done this and then I don't take it and then I just react and I'm just going to shoot them. And unfortunately, that's going to ruin our really carefully laid out plan that we spent an hour of real life time.
Which that character was also helping with. So it's like, why would you put all that effort in planning if you could so easily get triggered? Do you know what I mean?
That kind of stuff kind of fucks.
I think it's just like, I think ultimately it comes down to respect, right? It's about respecting the other players' times and being like, do you know what? We've spent hours laying this plan out, and my character, he is the type of guy that usually lets his emotions get to him. But I'm going to try to resist it. You could even say to the GM, right, I want to fucking shoot this woman in the head. Can I roll to resist the urge? And then the GM will like you a lot more. You're still doing what you would always do, right? You're still playing true to your character's hindrances, but you're giving yourself a chance for it not to happen. Or you could just say, for once, I'm going to put these emotions down and then let it out afterwards. Do you see what I mean? Because there's the stereotype on a heist of the hot-headed guy that does something wacky and ruins it, right? Like Mr. White from Reservoir Dogs. When they talk about him, he's just gone and started shooting cops, right?
Yeah.
There's that stereotype, but you can either say flat out, I'm resisting it this time, or you can be like, oh, I feel it's going to take over. Should I roll spirit? And the GM will go like, yep, because you've spent so long doing the plans, I'll give you a +2. You know,
there you
something
go.
like that.
Yeah.
Boom! 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 Yeah, you thought you could get away with your little ruse, didn't you? Didn't you? Well, you didn't, because I know where you hid the diamonds. I've been on to you and your little friends for weeks. Boom! Boom!
This has gotten really serious, but I'm liking it. This is a good discussion that we've had so far. Very last one comes in from Michael Markey. It's a short one. He says, don't be that player who passes a note to the DM. I'm actually an assassin, and I'm going to kill everyone in their sleep and take their stuff. You're not clever. You're just an arse.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, that's a fucking dick move. That
I think.
Imagine if anyone ever did that.
I actually during the zombie campaign, I got a bit caught up in the survival aspect of it and tried to kill everyone. But then to be fair, I learnt my lesson. I bought a character next that actually gelled with it. People make mistakes, all right. It's if you try to actually grow as a player and become better that makes you a good player. But
totally.
Yeah, I agree. I do find that quite funny, though. But it reminds me, there was a bit in The Office where that happens. Oh, it's where it's during the improv bit. Michael is the exact. He is the chaotic, stupid character. Do you remember when he's doing an improv class and he keeps getting
a gun out.
Yeah, a gun into every scene, and then they're like yeah, that is it. That's the fucking example.
That is it. That is exactly it.
And also when the guy who's running the session of improv, he goes, right, can you do one scene without a gun? And then Michael just goes up, whispers to one of the girls, and he's like, what did he say to you? He said he had a gun.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. And then he's just going, boom, boom.
So bad.
Oh God! I mean, because just think, if you need a reminder, watch that fucking scene. That's what you're doing to the D&D
exactly
night.
That. Michael Scott improv gun scene. Just watch that.
Don't
and
be
that is it. Because I would say, yeah, exactly that. A bit of advice would be, in your head, if you think it's going to be fantastically chaotic and really play into your character, just take a pause, have another think, and just look past that one act to see if it's worth it or not.
And maybe discuss it with the GM. If you really do want to fuck over the players, just like, are you cool with if I do this? Does it make sense? If not, don't worry about it.
Yeah. Well, we often do that where we sort of ask the table. Something's happening and we just go like, right, look, guys, look, I'm a bit twisted or I'm a bit torn here. I think my character would like to do this, but I appreciate the situation doesn't call for it. Can you help me out?
Often it's like if one character's called the other character's mum a bitch or something. Right? It's like, I really want to fucking slap him. And actually, we're lucky because a couple of the other players at the table will often be like, no, leave it, guys. Don't worry about it. It's fine. You're better than this.
Yeah. Or it's like, if you say you've got a hindrance that's like greedy, and it's like, I have to play my hindrance every time. It's like, okay, so you don't need to be greedy about everything, though. Maybe you're just greedy for money. Doesn't mean you're greedy for food or greedy for, do you see what I mean?
Exactly, yeah, like, give it nuances. It's like the mean hindrance, right? It doesn't mean you're mean to everyone, including the party. Yeah. What it means is that you have a mean streak, and it comes out sometimes. Or there's a particular...
Not every single time.
Or there's a particular type of person that you hate. Maybe you dislike old people, right? And that comes out. Oh, these fucking slowpokes. Get out of my way.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the only part of... It doesn't mean that, a catch-all term, I'm mean constantly to everything and everyone because I'm playing my hindrance. That doesn't make for good gaming.
Yeah. I was also just thinking as well, like, going back to The Office, it's like, don't play Prison Mike as well. Do you remember Prison Mike?
Oh, yes.
Don't drop the soap! It's like, where did you learn about this? Internet.
Oh, no, do you know what? Prison Mike was cringy, but what about, like, date night Mike?
Date Mike! Oh, God.
Oh,
Nick,
no.
But for those that don't know, Nick is currently, for the first time watching through the American version of The Office.
Yes.
Yeah.
Season 8 now.
Oh, man, you're getting, like...
Fucking hell, smashed through it.
Yeah.
So you're on the Sabre bit at the moment. I've watched it so many times.
Just finished the Sabre. Just wrapped up Sabre now.
Nice.
Anyway,
let's not talk about The Office. Let's throw out the podcast, The Office cast.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Hello.
Well, anyway, that is it. Thank you very much for your letters. I feel like, you guys stumbled across some... You guys gave us some very good advice there. And a lot of food for thought. I think, if you out there, listeners, are going to play an evil campaign, do it. It's fun. It's really fun because it's very cathartic to play characters that are bad. Especially during lockdown when we played Tough Guys and we were just playing arseholes and we could get some of the anger out. Do you know what I mean? It's good.
Yeah,
But
totally.
just make sure it's nuanced. And to do that, make sure your campaign is nuanced and make sure the characters... just chat to your players,
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, should we do an outro, lads?
Oh, yes, please.
Yes.
Okay, here we are in the outro. Right, how do you think that went?
Oh, pretty evil.
It was pretty evil. It was a collection of sounds. We can say that, can't we?
That's for sure. Yeah, we certainly can.
We can.
Tasty.
I think it was a very lovely discussion, and I hope that everyone took away some really nice tips. Thank you for listening.
The main tip being, don't listen to this show anymore.
It's a crock of shit.
Oh, no, do listen to the show.
No, hold on, that's the wrong one. Yeah.
Wait a minute. No. Slow down.
It's a pot of gold.
Yeah, exactly. It's a pot of gold. And speaking of pots of gold, go over to Patreon and search for the 3T RPG podcast because we need the money, mate. All right, the studio's fallen apart. Somehow it's turned into a baby's room. I don't know what's happened there.
I don't know how that's happened.
So we're going to have to remodel this fucking place.
And we've got some Patreon content coming.
Oh, yeah, we do. I was supposed to be doing that today. I forgot about that. Well, we'll do it now. We'll do it after this.
Okay.
We'll do like half hour if you guys
Half
can manage
hour.
it. But
Yeah.
But we're doing Patreon exclusive episodes. I know we said early on that we'd never gate any content behind a paywall, but in our defence, we're going to do off-topic episodes on Patreon where we talk about off-topic shit that's not to do with RPGs. So it's technically not a 3T podcast, but it's going to be us three discussing some off-topic shizzle. Yeah.
Random stuff.
Yeah, mate.
Yeah, and
So I suppose, as you know, if you like, as patrons, if you like it, then give us topics to discuss next time.
Oh, yes.
yeah, I mean that's hopefully what we're going to do. If you are a Patreon at any level, you can suggest for us topics. This time we're going to be talking about pet ownership. It's going to be about half an hour of pet ownership. But if you want to give us any topic, it could be anything from paper clips to Barack Obama to Men Shaw Motion Scents original dry deodorant.
Oh, very nice. Or maybe beef stroganoff or Casio calculators.
Beef stroganoff is a good one. All right, but yeah, any of those topics. And also we're on Facebook. The email address is 3trpgpod@gmail.com. So I've been Harrison Hunt.
I've been Nick Lambslicer.
And I've been James Pumpkin.
And just remember that D20s are cool, but 20Ds, now that is a good time. Daddy, we're coming. All right. Shut up.